It was my first high school reunion since becoming the business owner I had always dreamed of being. I was looking forward to seeing my classmates after such a long time. But what awaited me was a nightmarish experience. A poor guy as a business owner? Is your house a doghouse? Travis's crude laughter echoed through the reunion venue. Travis used to be quieter and wasn't such a jerk. I wondered what had happened to make him like this. Regardless of the reason, not knowing what's appropriate to say at the age of 30 is pathetic. I was so shocked that I was speechless. Travis, without caring about my reaction, kept talking. After this, we're having the after party at your place. To my disbelief, Travis decided on my house as the after party venue without asking. I had no choice. I ended up guiding all my classmates to my house. There, Travis would never be able to call me a poor guy and look down on me again. My name is Harvey Underlake, and I'm 30 years old. My background is too complicated to describe in a single word. I lost both my parents to illness before I could even remember them. There were no relatives willing to take in such a young child, so I was sent to an orphanage. There, I met a kind, motherly teacher named Maggie. Maggie treated me with the love of a real son. When I had just entered elementary school and cried wanting to see my parents, she stayed by my side and comforted me with kind words. I'll always be here for you, Harvey. Come to me whenever you feel lonely. I was saved countless times by Maggie's gentle words. The orphanage was full of kids my age, and we grew up feeling like a big family. Although I didn't have parents, it was a warm environment. However, things changed when I entered middle school. Shortly after starting, I was teased at school for being from an orphanage. In elementary school, I never heard such things, so I felt completely safe and was filled with despair. Classmates even came to the front of the orphanage and shouted loudly, "You're a poor orphan. That's so lame." The other kids at the orphanage looked on in bewilderment. In a weak voice, I said, "Hey, stop it," but they ignored me. At that moment, Maggie rushed out from inside the orphanage. She was furious like a storm. "Hey! Where do you live? I need to go to your house and talk to your parents." If you can't say your address, don't do such mean things." When Maggie said that, the classmates ran off. I was so frustrated at my helplessness that I burst into tears. Maggie then said to me, "Don't let those terrible people get to you. Harvey, be strong. You have many good qualities that others don't. Develop those, so no one can look down on you." Maggie said it firmly, but did I really have good qualities? Lacking confidence, I looked down and muttered, "What are my good qualities?" Maggie looked me in the eye and said, "I know you have many good qualities, Harvey. Your parents are watching over you from heaven. You're not alone." Her words opened my eyes. I had Maggie and my parents in heaven. I decided to become strong and show those who tease me what I could become. I thought about what I needed to do to achieve that. That's when I came up with the idea of becoming a business owner. From that point on, I studied relentlessly. Although I hadn't decided yet what kind of business I would run in the future, I believed that if I became smarter through studying, the path would naturally open up. This way, my grades kept improving rapidly. My improved grades became apparent when I was studying for my high school entrance exams. Maggie suggested that I take a mock exam at the prep school and made the arrangements for me. Like my other classmates, I wanted to attend a prep school for high school entrance exams, but as a child raised in a facility, it was impossible for me. My classmates regularly took mock exams to gauge their level, but since I wasn't attending a prep school, I had no idea where I stood. That's when Maggie, being considerate, arranged for me to take the mock exam. Since the facility only provided the minimum living expenses, Maggie probably paid for it herself. This will help clarify what Harvey should study now and be beneficial for the high school entrance exams. Do your best. Maggie said this as she dropped me off in front of the prep school. I was only grateful to Maggie. After arriving at the mock exam venue and taking the test, all I had to do was wait for the results. In the meantime, I continued studying for the entrance exams from early morning till late at night. One day, during this routine, Maggie was astonished when she saw the mock exam results that arrived at the facility. The other teachers at the facility were also wide-eyed with surprise. Was my performance really that bad? Feeling anxious, Maggie showed me the results and said, "Harvey, you said before that you didn't know your strengths, right? Your strength is that you never give up and work hard towards your goals. This is something you won't lose to anyone." As I listened to Maggie's words, I stared at the mock exam results. The results were all A grades in every subject. With these grades, Harvey, you can probably get into any high school you want. Thank you. It's all thanks to you, Maggie. When I said this, Maggie put her hand on my shoulder. No, I didn't do anything. It's the natural result of your hard work, Harvey. Keep it up for the high school entrance exams. Maggie said so with a smile. Then, the day of the high school entrance exam came, and I was able to finish it successfully. I got into a high school known for its high academic standards. This was all thanks to Maggie and everyone at the facility who supported me. I decided to enjoy my high school life for everyone's sake. I spent the next 3 years with that in mind. In high school, I made good friends and had a lot of fun every day. Having enjoyed a fulfilling high school life, I reached my senior year and finally had to leave the facility. It was sad, but it was a rule that couldn't be changed. I was immensely grateful to the facility that had raised me so well, despite having no family. Especially to Maggie, who treated me like her son, I felt an indescribable amount of gratitude. As I was leaving the facility, Maggie handed me an envelope. The envelope was sealed tightly, so I couldn't see what was inside without cutting it open with scissors. Harvey, from now on, it's your life. Carve out the future you desire. If things get really tough, take a look inside this envelope. I swore to live my life to the fullest, just as Maggie had said. 12 years have passed since then. I am now a working adult, living a busy life every day. One day, as I was walking down the street on my way to an office, someone called out to me from behind. When I turned around, there was a stylish-looking man in a fancy suit standing there. Hey! Long time no see. You haven't changed a bit, so I recognized you right away, Harvey. I couldn't recall who this friendly man was. Since he spoke to me so warmly, he must have been someone I was close to. But strangely, I just couldn't remember who he was. Sorry, I can't seem to remember. What's your name? Thinking it would be rude to continue without remembering, I asked for his name. The man looked puzzled. How can't you remember? Is there even a brain in your head? Damn. I'm Travis, you know, we were together in high school. With those words, I finally remembered. But Travis looked completely different from back then, unrecognizable. Back then, Travis's trademark was his glasses, and he had no sense of style. He was always quiet, and we never really talked. Sorry. It's been a while, so it took me a moment. Travis, how have you been? What are you doing now? Trying to change the subject quickly, I asked Travis, who was in a bad mood. Travis started talking proudly. You know I've always been smart, right? So, I went to T University, and now I work at the famous N Corporation. Isn't that amazing? T University? That's impressive. When I said that, Travis looked at me and laughed derisively. Isn't it? Well, you were smart too, but since you grew up in a facility, you couldn't go to college, right? That's so pathetic. Even though everyone said you were smarter than me, you couldn't get ahead without a good environment. So, are you doing some part-time job now? I was stunned by Travis's words. Was I pathetic? I had never thought of myself as unfortunate. Travis's words were not true. But here, I didn't feel like arguing with Travis, who was looking down on me, so I decided to brush it off. Well, I'm working here and there. When I said that, Travis laughed. Must be nice for you. With low education, you can work casually without anyone saying anything. I'm jealous. Well, I'm busy, so see you. Travis said that unilaterally and left. What a guy. I was really irritated, but I didn't have time to deal with Travis. I thought I'd never see him again, so I decided to let it go. But then, another hellish event happened to me. It all started with a phone call from my high school classmate, Gordon. Hey, let's go out for a drink. I hadn't met up with any of my high school classmates because I was so busy, so I was thrilled by Gordon's invitation. Gordon was a particularly close friend during high school. We stayed in touch frequently, but it had been a year since we last met. Of course, I happily accepted Gordon's proposal and went to the pub where we agreed to meet. When I entered the pub and was shown to the table, I was astonished. It wasn't just Gordon who was there. Long time no see. It's been a year, hasn't it? I'm glad to see you're doing well. Gordon cheerfully called out to me. Hey! We meet again. To my surprise, Travis was also sitting at the table. I was too shocked to speak. Seeing me like that, Gordon said. You guys already ran into each other again? I ran into Travis just before coming in here, so I invited him for a drink. I was surprised at how much he had changed. I could only nod quietly to Gordon's words. Why did I have to meet Travis again? I felt a bit complicated. Unaware of my feelings, Gordon chatted happily with Travis. As the drinks flowed, we started reminiscing about our high school days. Then, Travis once again began to say unbelievable things, looking down on me. You were the top student in the class without even going to prep school, right? What trick did you use? Did you suck up to the homeroom teacher? I was speechless. Everyone knows that grades don't improve just by sucking up. For him to say such things with a straight face, he must be out of his mind. Thinking that, I said, that's not true. I couldn't go to prep school back then, so I studied desperately. Gordon then raised his voice to defend me. Travis! What are you talking about? Harvey was incredibly smart. Besides, he was popular with the girls because he was good-looking. When Gordon said that, Travis smirked maliciously. Harvey, smart? He must have cheated. And the girls were fooled too. Really, everyone has no eye for people. Travis said this and downed the beer in his hand. Gordon and I exchanged glances. It seemed Travis absolutely didn't want to acknowledge me. I didn't care whether Travis acknowledged me or not. What Travis thought of me was none of my business. But Gordon's face contorted. There's no way he cheated. Are you serious? Gordon's face turned red. Come on, we've been drinking. I don't mind, so don't raise your voice. I said to calm Gordon, and Travis started laughing. Then he said something shocking. Are you pretending to be a saint again? I've always been sick of that attitude of yours. I hate you for trying to make everyone like you by cheating, even though you're just a poor kid. A saint. What on earth was Travis talking about? As I was in shock, Gordon shouted at Travis. I shouldn't have invited you. Get out of here. You came here just to insult Harvey, didn't you? Is it because you've never beaten Harvey at anything since we were kids? Are you trying to get revenge now? With Gordon's words, Travis's face turned redder and redder. He started shaking with anger. No, that's not it. Someone from a facility like you was never on the same level as me from the beginning. Don't get the wrong idea. Travis said this, stood up, and left the restaurant. It was as quiet as if a storm had passed. Gordon desperately apologized to me. I had no idea Travis had become such a nasty person. I'm really sorry for bringing him here. It's not your fault, Gordon. Sometimes you run into people like that in life. But I hope I never see him again. When I said that, Gordon gave a wry smile. Then we started drinking again and had a great time. A few days after that hellish day, I got a call from Gordon. Wondering what it was about, I answered the phone, and an excited Gordon started talking. We're suddenly having a reunion with our close friends. Of course, you'll join, right? I won't force you if you're too busy with work, though. It was the first reunion invitation since graduating high school. There was no reason for me not to go, so I decided to accept the invitation. But I had one concern. Travis isn't coming, right? When I said that, Gordon laughed. Of course not. I wouldn't invite him. This is a reunion for our close friends. Relieved, I said, that I'll join, and Gordon happily hung up the phone. I was looking forward to catching up with my old classmates. At that time, I had no idea that this fun reunion would turn into another hellish experience. On the day of the reunion, I finished work early and headed to the restaurant where the reunion was being held. Along the way, I met up with Gordon. Gordon, also excited about the reunion, was a bit hyper. I wonder how everyone's doing. I can't wait to talk to them. Yeah, me too. Having this cheerful conversation, we entered the restaurant and found our old classmates gathered there. And that's when I saw something I shouldn't have. Gordon was also stunned. One of our classmates approached us. I invited Travis too, hope that's okay? I ran into him on the street the other day. The more the merrier at a reunion, right? Of course. Gordon said, though his voice was trembling. Despite everything Travis had said to Gordon at the bar, he still showed up. Perhaps Travis had nerves of steel. Why did I have to run into Travis again? As I was thinking that, another classmate called out to me. Harvey. Long time no see. What are you up to now? I decided to be honest with my classmate's question. I'm running a company now. Everyone was astonished at my words. Gordon added. Harvey is an amazing business owner. My classmates' eyes lit up. Harvey was always smart. That's incredible. While my classmates were expressing their admiration, Travis started laughing uproariously. A poor kid from a facility running a business? Do you live in a doghouse? Don't make me laugh. Travis's vulgar laughter echoed through the reunion venue. The classmates exchanged looks, shocked by his words. In this joyful reunion, I couldn't understand why he would say something to ruin the atmosphere, and I was in shock. Gordon once again raised his voice at Travis. That's incredibly rude. Even after hearing Gordon, Travis just laughed. And continued to make inflammatory remarks. I'm just saying what everyone else is thinking. Harvey is a far more capable business owner than you think. As soon as Gordon said this, the restaurant fell silent. I could only watch the scene unfold. No way. Hey, Harvey, isn't that right? Let's have an after party at your place. Hey, you can't just decide that. It would trouble Harvey. Gordon looked at me with concern. But this seemed like the only way to shut Travis up. I had no choice. All right. My place isn't far from here. You can come if you want. When I said this, Travis smiled smugly. I can't wait to see what kind of dump you live in. Travis's words cast a dark shadow over the restaurant. But soon, our classmates began to lighten up and shared high school memories enthusiastically. I made a phone call to a certain place. Gordon looked at me with concern. Are you sure about this? Yeah, I just made a call, so don't worry too much. Gordon still looked apologetic. After the reunion ended, we all headed to my place. When I stopped in front of a luxury high-rise, my classmates, including Travis, were astonished. Come on, keep moving. This is my home. What? This is a millions of dollars high-rise. There's no way someone like you could live here. Stop joking around. When Travis said that, Gordon started laughing. Has Harvey ever joked? He's not that kind of person. Yeah, right. So you really live here? That's incredible. The classmates were impressed, their eyes shining. Well, if you make too much noise here, it will disturb the neighbors. It's a $50 million doghouse, but go ahead. I said sarcastically, and Travis and the others were shocked. $50 million? No way. Travis bit his lip in frustration. Everyone followed me upstairs. When we reached the top floor, everyone gasped. Wow! You live in an amazing place. My classmates watched intently as I unlocked the door. Meanwhile, Travis looked at me with suspicion. There must be something fishy going on. What on earth is he talking about? How much does he look down on me? Sighing, I opened the door and found Sadie there. I'm home. Sorry for this suddenly. I said, and Sadie smiled. It's rare for you to bring friends over. Cody just went to bed, so it's fine. Seeing this, my classmates looked apologetic. Harvey, you're married? We had no idea you had such a beautiful wife and a child. Sorry for barging in. Travis, on the other hand, was staring at Sadie curiously. Sadie invited everyone into the living room. There was a feast laid out. In such a short time, while taking care of Cody, she had prepared all this for me. I couldn't be more grateful to Sadie. My classmates, overwhelmed by the atmosphere, started taking their seats. It's amazing that you live in such a grand place. What kind of work do you do to afford a house like this? One of the classmates asked, and once again, despite Sadie being right there, Travis said something unbelievable. You must be involved in something shady. Gordon was too exasperated to speak, and the other classmates looked incredulous. Sadie frowned, trying to suppress her anger. Here we go again. As I thought that, Travis started staring intently at Sadie again. Then, as if realizing something, his eyes widened. Noticing this, a concerned classmate looked at Travis. Hey, Travis, are you okay? You don't look well. Travis, clearly agitated, raised his voice. Aren't you the daughter of Mr. Morgan, my company's president? What are you doing here? Travis was so shocked he seemed about to collapse. Sadie let out a big sigh. Oh, you work at N Corporation. My father has no eye for talent, hiring someone as rude and awful as you. When Sadie said this, Travis trembled. The living room fell silent. I'm Harvey's wife. When Sadie said this, all my classmates looked at me simultaneously. And they all started talking at once. Harvey! You married into wealth. That's amazing. Travis looked incredulous. Then Sadie began to laugh. It's true that my parents are wealthy, with my father being the president of N Corporation, but this house was purchased by Harvey. He earns more than my father does. Everyone listened to Sadie's words with skepticism. Gordon addressed our classmates. Hey, do you know who built this building? Everyone was stunned. Travis shouted. That's easy. It's aita, the company that constructs famous buildings worldwide, right? It's often featured in news and magazines. Everyone knows that. Then, you should already know Harvey's profession. What? You mean aita is Harvey? No way. Travis was shocked. I decided to reveal my true identity. I'm the CEO of aita. What? You only graduated high school. There's no way a high school grad like you could run such a big company. Travis assumed that because I grew up in a facility, I only had a high school education. I'm fed up with Travis's condescending attitude. I've had enough. I don't know where you got the idea that I'm just a high school graduate, but I went to graduate school. That's where I met Sadie. Sadie nodded at me. Our classmates seemed confused. My late parents left money for me. No way. Travis said, eyes wide. In fact, during my senior year of high school, I had decided on a path. I wanted to become an architect. The reason I chose this path was because my father, who had passed away from illness, was an architect. I wanted to see the world through his eyes. To become an architect, I wanted to learn more specialized knowledge and decided to go to university. However, as a facility-raised child, I didn't have enough money for university. So, I decided to borrow scholarships and work while attending university. I knew it wouldn't be an easy path. But I didn't want to give up. After successfully getting into my desired university, I left the facility after graduating high school. At that time, Maggie gave me an envelope. I decided to follow her advice and open it only when things got really tough. That tough time came sooner than expected. Shortly after starting university life, I was suddenly told to vacate my apartment for renovations. Having no money, it was difficult for me to move immediately. Desperate, I looked inside the envelope Maggie had given me. To my astonishment, inside was a bank book in my name. There was a letter from Maggie tucked inside, saying, "This is the money your parents saved for you. Use it wisely." When I saw the amount in the bank book, I was stunned. There were hundreds of thousands of dollars in it. I was overwhelmed with tears, realizing my parents had saved such a large amount for me. Having never felt my parents' love before, I received it in an unexpected way. Gratefully, I used the money to go to university and graduate school. It was there that I met my wife, Sadie. Sadie didn't mind that I was from a facility and became my girlfriend. She also volunteered to help underprivileged children in facilities and was kind to everyone around her. Wanting to spend my life with such a wonderful person, I proposed to Sadie. We got married. And later had our son Cody. Sadie supported my dream of becoming a business owner, and I was able to establish aita. Word of my talent spread among those who recognized it, and now I get to work on architectural projects around the world. Sadie handed a drink to the stunned Travis. Now you understand, right? Harvey achieved success through his own efforts. Just because someone grew up in a facility doesn't mean they have to be poor. You've looked down on Harvey since we reunited. But he's not the person you think he is. In reality, you shouldn't even be talking to someone like him. The classmates were all silent. Travis looked at me with resentment. Why does everything always work out for you, Harvey? I've worked hard since our school days. I studied at multiple prep schools to keep up with you. Yet the teachers and classmates always favored you. Why does someone who didn't even have to try always get the good things? It seemed Travis had harbored a competitive spirit towards me since our school days. I was surprised to learn about Travis's true feelings for the first time. Then Sadie started talking to Travis. Your name is Travis, right? Harvey has worked twice as hard because he didn't have parents. But he persevered and built his current position. You're smart too, so you understand, right? I understand. But I can't accept it. Travis stared straight at Sadie. Sadie also didn't avert her gaze. You got a job at the prestigious N Corporation, so you've worked hard too. I understand that feeling of frustration, but let's stop now. Hating others won't get you anywhere. It's not too late to change. When Sadie said that, Travis began to cry loudly. Gordon and the classmates were wide-eyed. The once sharp-tongued Travis looked weak and frail. Travis, trembling, spoke in a weak voice. Harvey. What I did was terrible. I'm ashamed of myself. But listening to Sadie, I woke up. I'm really sorry. Can you forgive me? Gordon nodded at me. I approached Travis and placed my hand on his shoulder. Everyone makes mistakes. Understanding them is what matters. When I said that, Travis cried even more. Now that Travis has seen the light, let's drink tonight. Gordon's words were a signal, and we all had a great time. After that, Travis became a different person, kinder and more gentle. Perhaps because of this, he met his soulmate at work and got married. Of course, Sadie and I were invited to the wedding. Travis looked so happy, and it made us happy to see him that way. As we were leaving, Travis said to me, "Thanks to you and Sadie, I've been reborn. I'm really grateful. Please stay friends with me forever." Of course. Let's keep in touch. Travis and I shook hands firmly. That's how Travis and I became best friends. People grow through their mistakes. What matters is how you build on those mistakes. I intend to cherish this encounter and the happiness I have now.